There comes a moment in every person's life when motivation disappears. Not because your dream is no longer important, not because your goal has become impossible, but because motivation was never designed to stay forever. It arrives like the sunrise, beautiful, powerful, inspiring, and then just as quietly, it fades. Most people build their lives on this fragile feeling. They wait to feel inspired before they begin. They wait to feel confident before they take action. They wait to feel ready before they chase the life they dream about. And while they wait, days become months, months become years. Dreams slowly turn into regrets. But there is another path, a quieter path, a harder path, the path of discipline. Discipline does not ask how you feel. It asks what must be done. It does not care if you are tired. It does not negotiate with excuses. It simply whispers the same command every single day. Show up. Rain or sunshine, victory or failure, applause or silence. Discipline keeps moving. And that is why discipline always outlives motivation. Imagine two men standing at the bottom of the same mountain. The first waits until he feels motivated. The second climbs whether he feels like it or not. On the first day, the motivated man runs ahead. His energy is high. His excitement is contagious. The disciplined man walks slowly, steadily, without emotion. A week later, the motivated man skips a day, then another. Soon he tells himself he will start again on Monday. The disciplined man never stopped. His steps were small, but they never ended. Months later, one reaches the summit. The other is still waiting for inspiration. That is the difference between a life built on feelings and a life built on principles. Because motivation starts the journey. Discipline finishes it. The strongest people in the world are not always the most talented. They are not always the smartest. They are not always the fastest. More often than not, they are simply the ones who refuse to quit when nobody was watching. Because real discipline is born in silence, not on the stage, not in front of applause, not when cameras are recording, but in the quiet moments, when no one would know if you stopped. That is where character is built, not in victory, but in repetition. Imagine a blacksmith standing before a blazing fire. He takes a piece of cold steel and places it into the flames. Again, and again, and again. He strikes it with his hammer hundreds of times, not because he enjoys the process, but because he knows something the steel does not. Strength cannot exist without pressure. The steel never understands why it must endure the fire, but the blacksmith does. Your life is no different. Every difficult morning, every lonely workout, every late night of studying, every sacrifice that nobody notices is another strike of the hammer. You are being shaped into someone stronger than you were yesterday. Many people ask, how do I become disciplined? But they ask the wrong question. The better question is, what habits are controlling my life? Because whether you realize it or not, everyone is disciplined. Some people are disciplined in waking up late. Some are disciplined in making excuses. Some are disciplined in procrastination. Some are disciplined in wasting hours scrolling through their phones. Discipline itself is neutral. It simply strengthens whatever you practice repeatedly. If you practice weakness, weakness becomes your identity. If you practice consistency, consistency becomes your character. One afternoon, a young student asked an old master, "Master, how do I stay motivated every day?" The master smiled. "I don't." The student looked confused. "You don't?" "No. I rely on discipline. Motivation changes with the weather. Discipline stays. If I waited until I felt inspired, I would accomplish almost nothing." The student remained silent. The master continued. "Do you brush your teeth every morning because you feel motivated?" "No. You do it because it has become part of who you are." Success works the same way. When good habits become your identity, you no longer need motivation. This is why discipline is freedom. At first, it feels restrictive. Waking up early, training every day, reading instead of wasting time, saying no to distractions. It feels difficult. But over time, those same habits create a life that most people only dream about. Meanwhile, the person who chooses comfort every day eventually becomes trapped by that comfort. Because comfort always asks for more comfort. One lazy day becomes two. Two become a week becomes a year. And suddenly, you wake up wondering where your life went. There is a powerful truth few people understand. Every action you repeat is casting a vote for the person you are becoming. Every time you choose discipline, you tell yourself, I am someone who keeps promises. Every time you quit, you teach yourself. I cannot trust myself. Confidence does not come from positive thinking. Confidence comes from evidence. Evidence that you can rely on yourself. Evidence that you finish what you start. Evidence that your actions match your words. That is real confidence. Most people fail because they chase intensity. They believe success requires giant leaps. It doesn't. It requires small steps. Repeated every single day. A tree does not grow 10 feet overnight. A mountain is not climbed in one step. A masterpiece is not painted in 1 hour. Everything extraordinary is built through ordinary actions repeated consistently. Never. There comes a point in every journey when your greatest enemy is no longer the world. It is no longer your circumstances. It is no longer the people who doubted you. It is the voice inside your own mind, the quiet voice that whispers, "Skip today. You deserve a break. You can start tomorrow. One day won't matter." That voice sounds harmless. It speaks gently. It sounds reasonable. But over time, it steals dreams one excuse at a time. Because success is rarely destroyed by one terrible decision. It is destroyed by hundreds of small compromises. One missed workout, 1 hour wasted, one broken promise, one excuse repeated until it becomes your identity. That is why discipline is not a battle against the world. It is a battle against yourself. A wise master once told his students, "Every morning 2 wolves wake up inside you. One wolf seeks comfort. It wants sleep instead of effort. It wants excuses instead of responsibility. It wants pleasure without sacrifice. The other wolf seeks growth. It embraces discomfort. It welcomes hard work. It understands patience. It chooses long-term success over short-term pleasure." One student asked, "Master, which wolf wins?" The master smiled. "The one you feed every day? Think about your daily habits. Every decision feeds one of those wolves. When you wake up early despite being tired, you feed discipline. When you keep your promise after losing motivation, you feed discipline. When you choose learning over endless distraction, you feed discipline. And little by little, the stronger wolf begins to lead your life, not because you became extraordinary overnight, but because you stopped negotiating with your own excuses. Most people think discipline is painful. It is, but they forget something important. Regret is painful too. Being broke is painful. Living with poor health is painful. Watching other people achieve dreams you abandoned is painful. Life will always ask you to carry pain. The only choice you have is which pain you are willing to carry. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One lasts for a moment. The other can last a lifetime. Imagine standing in front of 2 doors. The first door is easy to open. Behind it is comfort, entertainment, endless distraction, no responsibility, no challenge. The second door is heavy. Behind it are early mornings, lonely nights, sacrifice, failure, growth. Most people choose the first door because it feels easier, but years later, they discover it led nowhere. The second door was difficult to open, but it led to freedom. Discipline teaches you a lesson motivation never can. Feelings are temporary. Principles are permanent. You will not always feel confident. You will not always feel happy. You will not always feel inspired. But if your actions depend on your emotions, your future will always depend on chance. The disciplined person says, "I don't need to feel like doing it. I only need to remember why.